Hey, welcome back. It's really exciting and always fun to talk to Coach Beau Carmon. I met Beau 4 years ago, very, very cooperative then, still is. This year, 2014, Coach of the Year, Ohio, pretty impressive. This year, District 2 Coach of the Year. He's going to coach the North-South game. We got a couple of our athletes involved in it. National Football Coaches Foundation Award.
That's
2
correct.
years in a row.
That's correct.
Boy, you just keep racking. Where do you put all this stuff at home? You got a room for it?
I think it's in the closet right now. We look at it more of a team award than an individual thing. Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to get right to this, Beau. First year you came in here, you had all that enthusiasm, you were fired up, and you promptly put up an 0-10 season.
Mm-hmm.
Then you went 7-4, playoff, 7-4, playoff. Then this year 10-2, but you had a playoff win.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
That first year when you were coaching, and you were muddling there after, I don't know, Woodmore or Rossburg, when did you realize that you're going to have to do something different? When did that thought come about when you say, this isn't going like I envisioned?
Well, we played a lot of sophomores that year. We were very young, and it wasn't that we really did anything different, other than the fact that I fired myself as an offensive coordinator and let Marcus Rimbach call the offense after that, which is probably why we were so much better. It's part of the reason. But the kids stayed the course more than anything. They bought in the off season. They continued to get better, and really what it came down to was getting the feel of what it took to finish a football game when it came to 2014, because they ultimately were a lot of the same kids that played in 2013. But 2013 set it for us because we never got shut out, of any of those games. Our kids played to the last whistle, and we took a couple teams down to the wire that season that, quite frankly, we probably shouldn't have. It was tough, but it was a season that ultimately happened and probably needed to happen for us to have success that we've had up to this point.
Okay, I'm going to go back to this again because I'm kind of dense. I'm an old guy. 0-10.
Yeah.
What did you say to your coaches when that first coaches meeting after the season was over? What was the general mood besides firing yourself as the offensive coordinator? What did you guys come up with? What was the plan? I guess I want to be able to grab something to turn things around. Yeah,
the plan is to get it going in the off season right away, and everything we were going to do was going to be competitive. We needed to compete. Our kids needed to learn how to compete as much as they possibly could, whether it was in the weight room, whether it was more off the field type of stuff, whether it was in the classroom. Our kids needed to know what it was like to compete and win, and even for our kids that were in other sports as well, through the winter and spring, we wanted them to be competitive. We wanted them to win, so they knew what it felt. They knew what it took to win. And so, fortunately for us, our kids were very competitive in the off season, and we grew together as a program. And we didn't approach a whole lot different. When I came in here, we as a staff developed a plan on what we were going to do to win. We didn't know how long it was going to take. We didn't want to go 0-10 the first season. We just weren't very good. We were very young. We were very weak. We were very slow, and last year we were kind of the opposite. We're fast, we're strong, we're winning the line of scrimmage, which is something I don't think's happened here in a long time when you play against a team like Clyde. And so that's really the difference between 2013 to now. But you got to give the credit to the players because we have good football players here at Port Clinton. Okay,
when you started, you had your dad helping you.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad goes all the way back to play at OU.
Yeah.
What did he say when he saw our kids and you went through that season? Did it drive him nuts?
We were soft. He said we were soft. Did
he poke you in the chest and say, Beau, you got to get these kids in the weight room?
He was more concerned about the kids and the unwillingness to hit, to block. The first day that we hit, he still brings it up all the time that we had 3 starting offensive linemen that had to take themselves out of practice because their heads hurt. And he'd never seen anything like that. He's like, we're soft. I don't understand this. And he called them out. He called me out. That said I need to be tougher on the kids. He's helped me through my career, not just at Port Clinton, but my previous jobs as well. And I've drug him through some stuff. We've been a part of some poor teams. We've been part of some good teams, but he's a big reason why. We catapulted ourselves through 2013 and had the success we did through 2014. And he gave me one good year. He turned 70 this year in August, and so he still gives me guidance. We still talk all the time. He asks all the time about our offensive line and how good we're going to be, and he asks about our outgoing seniors, where they're going to go to school at, and he he was invested, and he's still invested. He loves this community. He bought a boat when I first got hired here, so he's up here all the time, up fishing and taking my mom to the island. So he loves the area, and he wants us to be successful, not just for me, but for the entire community.
Okay, second year, all of a sudden, midway through the season, we're babbling. We're doing really well. We've got people walking to the polls downtown. They don't understand this. We're doing so well. It's exciting. We have a chance to make the playoffs.
Sure.
What was the feeling at that time? Was it a feeling of accomplishment? You guys had it made then, or what was the deal?
Well, my philosophy is always go one game at a time. I don't care if we're playing the poorest team on our schedule, the best team on our schedule. We're not going to look ahead past anybody. So, we beat Woodmore week 1, okay?
Beat you the year before.
Who destroyed us the year before. Destroyed us the year before. And then the next game, we beat Rossford, which was a big win at their place. And then we go into Genoa, who beat us 84-13, ran the score up on us on purpose. And that was a game that we knew we could make a difference this season if we went in and we hit these guys as hard as we possibly could, and we gave them a game. And we go in at halftime down by 19 points, and we shut them out in the second half. We come back and beat Genoa, and I think that game was probably the turning point of not just the season, but probably our entire program.
Okay.
We got a little ahead of ourselves after that game. We still, went to Oak Harbor the next week and blew that game, and but that was a game as well that probably helped us out because it put us back in our place and let us know we're not as good as we thought we were. And so, we ended up having a pretty good year and made the playoffs for the first time in school history.
I know, it's unbelievable. People are going nuts. Now, after that Genoa game, I remember the people talking. Everybody was excited. Did you go home that night, sit in a chair and go, oh my gosh, what did we just do?
Yeah, I kind of still do. I think about that game a lot. I try not to dwell on the past too much because, we constantly have to go forward as a program. But, I think back about what our kids, those seniors, I think of guys like Cal Laurel, Stefan Daniels, Keegan Lowe. Those are kids that off-season, that summer, they killed themselves to put this program on the right track. And I'm forever indebted to those guys because, they're outstanding young men. They're guys I love coaching, and they're winners, and they proved it their senior year. So I think it took a group of uncommon seniors to make that step for this program.
Now, let's go to the third year, okay? Now we're looking at the third year. You've gone to the playoffs. People are, it's now we get our expectations go way up.
Yeah.
And you did it again. You came in and how did you maintain this? You lost Keegan Lowe, you lost Cal, you lost these good guys.
Yeah.
How did you maintain it the third year?
Well, we still had great players. We still had great players coming back. We had kids that still were invested in the program. We had some tremendous offensively explosive guys on our team. Guys you may remember like Brandon Moore and Nathan Stubblefield, Aiden Rosbert.
Yes.
Guys that rang up yards and points like it was nothing. So Speed, and our concern was going to be defense, going into that year, because we knew offensively we were going to be able to put points on the board pretty well. And so we needed guys that were going to be committed to defense, guys that wanted to hit, guys that wanted to tackle, and we still had it. We still had it that year. So we were able to make some good defensive stops. I know we beat the game that really sticks out. There's a few games that stick out. The one that really sticks out was probably Huron. At Huron, we beat them for the first time in 20 years. And we took them down to a last-second field goal because we always play Huron tough. They always play us tough. Doesn't matter what the records are. We played Clyde tough that year, but we weren't ready to beat them yet. But we still had another game that kind of put us in our place, and that unfortunately was our season opener against for our home opener against Rossford, and Rossford took it to us, and we had a lot of distractions that night with the new stadium and dedication, and so. But we were able to get into the playoffs again as an 8th seed, and fortunately we had to run into Columbus Bishop Hartley first round.
They won the state, didn't they?
They won state that year. They won state this year.
Yeah.
And so, we went down there and we put up over 400 yards of offense on them, but we only put up, 3 touchdowns, and they put up more than 3 touchdowns. So we played hard against them. We had the lead at one point, but we weren't, ready to play as a program with a team like Bishop Hartley.
Okay, we're going to back up just a little bit. We're back into season 2.
Sure.
We got everybody excited about football. Our community is going nuts. When did you know? When did somebody set you down and say, we're going to get a new stadium. And then what did you think?
You know, I heard about the possibility when I first got hired here, but that's all it was at the time, was a possibility. We've got a group of tremendous community members who have spent a lot of time and money in investing in not just our football program, but our entire.
Correct.
You know, that stadium is for our community.
Right.
It's for our student athletes in the ball, Portland.
Yeah, track, soccer, and
That's
everything.
correct. Now, the guys that stepped up and really started to make this happen happen to be fathers of kids that are on the football team and multi-sport athletes as well. And so, you know, when they got the ball rolling and said, you know, we think we can do this, then it came down to the Board of Education and Mr. Atkins about whether or not they would approve it and go ahead for it. And of course, I think there's always question marks until that happened. And I didn't have any. I thought for sure that they would back it, and sure enough, they did. You know, we've got a Board of Education, a superintendent who are pro sports. They're pro Port Clinton. They want to see positive things happen in this community. So I don't think there was a whole lot of hesitation when they saw that everything was set. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to raise the money for it. We're not going to take money, at least a lot of money from our taxpayers to make this happen. We're going to do it the right way with private donations, and so they made it happen, and it's a thing of beauty.
It is a thing of beauty. How closely did you work with these guys?
You know, I talk to those guys during the season. We meet every week. You know, off season we meet every month, and I discuss, you know, what we're doing as a team, what we're doing as a program, and these guys will, you know, fill me in about where we're at and what's needed and what. For me at that point, what can I do for you guys? You know, I'm the head coach, but I'm not a big money person. I don't have a ton of money. I'm just a school teacher. You know, but what can we do? What can I do to help you guys out? And basically just promote it and continue to do my part by hopefully winning football games and keeping the energy going and keeping the momentum going. And we were able to do that. You know, we were able to do that. So the fact that we were able to win football games, get the community excited, I think really helped our cause as well.
Hey, I'm going to back up again here. I keep jumping back because I'm looking. When you were first advised that there may be a stadium, did you really think it was going to come off like it was? Did you think, yeah, somebody's just out here talking? Yeah, but
well, it was hard because I didn't really know a whole lot of people. I'm not from the area, so when I came up here and I heard some people say this is what we want to do, I didn't have a reason not to believe them. But I didn't know a whole lot about Port Clinton at the time, so I'm just like, oh, you know, if it happens, great. If not, hey, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to do what I can. You know, I don't care if we're playing on turf, if we're playing on grass, or we're playing on asphalt. Whoever we're playing against, we're going to play our best football against them. So it really didn't matter to me. It'd be great if we could, and I'll do my part. But if not, until it happens, we're going to continue to play good football. So, you know, we put together a good season before the new stadium came in, and that, I think, it came at the right time and really happened.
I'm so proud of that stadium. It's so beautiful for our community. People go by and it glistens at night. It's so nice.
It is.
So fortunate.
Beautiful.
Okay, we're going to jump now to last year.
Sure.
You got a bunch of nice-looking athletes coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got speed, you got quickness, you got toughness.
Size.
Got an arm at quarterback. I mean, got a lot of good things. Talk a little bit about this. Were you salivating when you saw this starting to put together?
I was nervous. I was nervous looking at our offensive side of the ball. We had to replace 3 starters on the offensive line. I had to start 2 sophomores at offensive tackles, and typically when you have to play 2 sophomores on the offensive line, that really, you know, could not be necessarily a good thing. So fortunately for us, we've got one heck of a running back, two really good running backs. One's more of a receiver though. We had a quarterback who had been dying to be the starting quarterback of this program since he was a freshman, and you know had been behind Brandon Moore for all those years. We had guys that were young that had been winning. They knew how to win. We had 3 senior linebackers. We had a veteran defensive backfield, and our defensive line was probably the best I've seen in quite some time with, you know, All-State, you know, Russell, DeMarco at defensive end, and Corbin Winningham, we call him the Mole, who is one of the better nose guards I've coached in a long time. So, you know, guys from all different positions really stepped up and helped on both sides of the ball, and we were able to put together a pretty spectacular season.
No kidding. And some of these athletes, you've got kids going to college. I saw in the paper and all this good stuff. And you're coaching the North-South game. A couple of your guys are going to be involved. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know, when you have 3 kids sign athletic scholarships to get their school paid for, that's I've never been in a place like that before. I've been around some really good players, but having 3 signed for athletic scholarships is pretty good. And we've got a slew of other kids that still are going to
potentially
they're going to move on and play at the next level. So I'm really excited. It's the best senior class I've ever been a part of. Now I've been coaching for 12 years, so take it for what it's worth. You know, I've got more coaching, but in 12 years I've never seen a better senior class athletically and leadership-wise as well. That's, you know, going into this year, that's what we're really, really going to miss. And we had kids that were tremendous leaders on and off the field. And so in the off season, I think that's when it really got set with our kids. Was our senior leaders we're going to grab the team by the throat and say, this is the way things were going to be this year. We wanted to accomplish things that hadn't been accomplished in the past. Had success, 7-4, 2 years in a row. So our talk this year was, what was the next step? What was going to be our next step as a program? Is it going to be where we're going to beat Clyde for the first time in 25 years? Were we going to make the playoffs and win first round? Were we going to win the SBC for the first time since 1947? What was the next? We weren't sure what it was. What we do know is we were going to take it one step at a time, one game at a time, and then we'll see where we were at come the end of the season. And we set ourselves up pretty well to have a chance to win a championship and at least get a first-round playoff win, and that's what happened.
You did?
Yeah, it did.
So, backing up again, before the season, you got your coaches, or it was last year, after last year, you guys sat down and said, this is what we want to do. We're going to, next step, get a playoff win, and this is going to be our goals. And you included the senior group of guys to help you pull us off?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, because you don't have that kind of success without talent. You could be Urban Mike, be Nick Saban. If you don't have the guys to be successful, you're not going to be very good. We had talent on our team this past year, a lot of talent on our team, and we feel as a coaching staff we try to maximize it no matter what the talent is. We're going to try to get the most out of it, no matter what. Every coach wants to do that, but how do you go about it? It's the process is what makes the difference between good teams and really, really good teams or even great teams. And so we were able to win some games that a lot of people, quite frankly, thought we probably weren't going to win. We believed it. We believed in ourselves going in that we were going to win some games that we probably shouldn't have. We weren't picked to win the league. We're still Port Clinton. We've done good things 2 years in a row, but nothing great. Were we able to take that next step? And that's what we challenged our kids, and our senior leaders took over from that point.
Wow. Well, looking back a little bit now, after your first year when you went 0-10. I've watched, when I was more active here, I watched the kids develop an attitude of being in the weight room, doing things. How did you instill that? What did you and your coaching staff do? How did you get these kids to believe this is what, because they did. I mean, I talked to parents, they had 7th graders going in there, 8th graders.
Yeah.
And now all came, it's pretty natural.
Sure.
How did you convince these kids to do this stuff?
Getting into that point, we challenged our kids to do something that they'd never done before. And the term we used was legendary a few years ago. You can do something that's never been done here before. You're going to be talked about forever because you're going to do something that hadn't been done in years at Port Clinton. You guys are going to be champions. You're going to do things that hadn't been done as far as making the playoffs, win league championships, knock off teams we haven't knocked off in over 20 years. That's what you're going to accomplish, and this is how you're going to accomplish it. All right? And bottom line is this, though, too. I mean, if we have kids that, and like any program, we have kids that won't invest, and if they don't invest, they're not going to be part of the team, or they're not going to be on the field. That's for sure. I mean, we'll play a sophomore over senior that is going to be investing in the program. It's going to believe what the coaches tell them, and it's going to take leadership from their seniors. And if they don't, if we have kids that don't want to do that, then they're just not going to see the field. So that's kind of where we're at as a program right now. And it's not even on the coaches anymore. It's not on the coaches anymore. We'll set it up, but our kids are to the point now where they expect the younger kids, and they expect everybody else to come on, and this is what needs to be done for us to be successful, because they've seen it. They've seen that if you do this, this can happen. You got to get that first win, though, Rod. I mean, I can preach everything I want and say we need to do this, we need to do this, but sooner or later you have to put the victories behind it to prove that it can be done. And that's why I think that first win against Genoa was probably the one that said, okay, now I think it paid off, and it showed that that hard work and dedication, can't lead to success down the road.
Well, I know it's been very exciting, and as a member of the community to go downtown, see the banners up on the lights and all that. The kids all seem to get along so well together. They seem, they appear to be. I'm not, like I say, they appear to get along, and they trust each other, and they trust their coaches, obviously. Now, what do you got in store for next year? Have you set the kids down yet, or you got your coaching staff lined up, ready to What are you looking at?
Well, another one of our successful traits here at Portland has been the fact that I do not have a turnover in coaches anymore. We've got coaches that are committed, that want to stay. That goes back to our administration hiring coaches that are teachers now in the district. Every single coach on my varsity staff works in the school district. They're a teacher or they're an aide in the school district. And that's unheard of, Rod. That just doesn't happen very often.
Right.
And so that's led to a lot more continuity between our staff. We have fun together. It's not all strict and wins and losses, things like that. We joke around and as a staff we go to clinics, or we'll go to spring balls together and have a good time. But we've had that with the kids, at least the ones that have been coming in the off season, and we've discussed what we want to do, what we're thinking about doing, especially the kids that are projected leaders,
sure.
In the program this year. We think that we do have weaknesses this year, like any team does. We think that we're going to have strengths this year, like a lot of other teams do. And I'm excited because I think it's going to be one of those years where it could be either way. It honestly could be either way. We could be very, very good this year, or we could be in for a long season because our season's not very forgiving. Our schedule is not forgiving this year. We open up with Sandusky, and we're still going to play Clyde as non-conference. So, if we're going to approach this off season and say, we're 10-2, heck, we've been there. That's just not going to happen. That's just unrealistic, and I think our kids understand that. And as coaches, we'll just continue to lead, and we'll keep evolving offensively and defensively and on special teams to make sure we're putting our kids in the best position to win football games.
Good. We're going to wrap up with something we talked about before, but I want to revisit it a little bit. You're going to be the coach of the North-South game,
mm-hmm.
and it's quite an honor. It's quite an honor for you, and plus you got two kids that are going to play in it.
Yeah.
And then you have another one that just played in a blue-gray game.
That's
that was so exciting. Talk about those three individuals, if you would, or how'd you get to Jacksonville with one of your players?
Well, I'll start with Russ. Russell last summer went through a series of combines where you had to compete, and not only compete, but you had to rise above everybody else to be invited for an opportunity to play in an all-star game. And there's 4 of them around the country, and one was in Jacksonville, and that was the one that Russell was invited to. And Russell did a great job at the combines in his 40 and his pro shuttle and his bench press. But again, that's because of everything he's done in the off season.
Last 3 years.
The last 3 years.
Yeah.
The last 3 years. Russ has moved from here to there, and he's had sometimes some instability in his life, and we want to provide some stability and make sure he went off the way. We want to send him off the way he should be sent off because Russell's a champion, he's a winner, and he deserved it.
Yeah.
So we were able to get him down to Jacksonville based on some generosity from. I would like Adrian and Scott Hines are 2 people that are part of the fullbackers that really stepped up and helped with this because it's not cheap. Flights aren't cheap, and lodging wasn't cheap, but we had a lot of fun down there. So he was able to play in the the blue-gray All-American game down in Jacksonville, Florida, in January.
And he was starting.
And he was starting.
Yeah.
He started defensive end down there.
What an honor.
Laid a heck of a hit on a quarterback, and we had a great time. The weather was great.
Yeah.
I know Coach Foe came down with me as well, and we had a blast watching him play and watching the kids. There was some real talent down there. A lot of Division I talent, a lot of big kids, and he belonged down there.
Good. Let's talk about the next North-South game coming up next month.
Yeah, I'm not the head coach in it. I'm an assistant coach in it, but all the coaches on the team are all head coaches. The head coach is Jeff Bayek from Warren JFK. He is the state champion this year, and so he's our head coach. But we were able to get Dante McClure and Darius Daniels on it. We have a number of kids that could have played in that game, talent-wise, but based on our needs and what our head coach wanted, he wanted Dante McClure, based on his versatility offensively, to be a receiver, running back, punt returner, kick returner. And you're not allowed to play any zone in the secondary, none.
Oh.
You have to play straight man.
Man-to-man.
And so I said, we've got a corner that can
He's
cover.
quick.
He's fast. And so we were able to get Darius Daniels on as well. These are 2 kids that are going to be playing at the next level. Dante is committed to Wayne State University in Detroit, and I think Darius now is coming down to leaning toward a couple schools at the D3 level, and he's a kid that's athletically can play at a very high level as well. So it's going to be a great time. It's at the end of April. It's in Massillon, Paul Brown Stadium. There's 2 games. 12 o'clock is the Divisions 4 through 7, and then I think 4 o'clock is the Divisions 1 through 3. Okay. And so I'm honored to be part of it, and so are those 2 young men.
Exciting.
Yes.
Wow. Beau, as always, I love your enthusiasm. Obviously, I love the way things have gone well, and you keep maintaining it. It's wonderful, and good luck next year.
Thanks for having me on, Rod. I appreciate it.
Love it. Thank you. This was a special Port Clinton Athletic Booster Club TV program today. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, go Skins!